The maid whispered cautiously. Sir left at dawn with his suitcase. He did not even call the driver. So Fang Yuan had finally grown a spine. Bai Ningbing did not answer. She simply sat down for breakfast. Black coffee. Whole wheat toast. Her usual routine, until one newspaper headline froze her in place. The page was packed with scandals about her and Song Jinyan. Every headline was more explosive than the last. Bai Ningbing stared at it for a long moment. Then she asked the maid in a low voice, "Did he see the newspaper before he left?" The maid answered honestly, "Sir left without even eating breakfast." Bai Ningbing slowly raised her eyes. Then she picked up the phone beside her, and called Secretary Wu. "Handle every story in that newspaper, and find out where Fang Yuan sold his wedding ring. I want the answer by 4 p.m. Secretary Wu was stunned on the other end. After a pause, she said softly, "That's impossible. Mr. Fang loves you so much. How could he possibly sell the wedding ring?" Bai Ningbing's response was to hang up. She tossed the phone onto the table. Looking at the news, she had no appetite at all. Meanwhile, I returned to the Fang residence. Su Ro had just finished making soup for the hospital. Seeing me, Su Ro lost her composure. She looked at the suitcase in my hand. Her tone was unpleasant. "Every couple fights. It's normal for a woman to cheat occasionally. That Song Jinyan looks so pathetic. And he's crippled. I've looked into him. He's even been married before. A man like that won't affect your status at all." "What status do I even have with Bai Ningbing?" I gave a self-deprecating smile. I packed the pigeon soup into a thermos. "I'm going to the hospital to see Dad in a bit." It took a while for Su Ro to find her voice. She went to H City again. "I can't believe that when Bai Ningbing was in a coma, this man named Song Jinyan woke her up just by playing the piano. Even if that were true, is this any way to repay him? Even your birthday, she can't even remember." Aunt Su grew more furious as she spoke. Thinking about the Fang family's situation, she couldn't help but shed tears. "You have to see things clearly. Don't cause a scene with Bai Ningbing right now." "I won't. Not because I, as the husband, am being considerate, but because I have no right to be. A couple who doesn't love each other. Their marriage is nothing more than a formality." Looking at the fireworks filling the sky, I whispered softly, "So many fireworks. It must cost a fortune." Su Ro didn't understand what I meant. I frowned, and started calling Secretary Wu. Secretary Wu had been with Bai Ningbing for a long time. She knew Bai Ningbing didn't care about me, her husband. So after hearing the reason for my call, her tone became cold and aggressive. "Mr. Fang, you must first apply for President Bai's signature before you can get the check, just like the luxury watch you're wearing. It also requires registration to be used. Mr. Fang, you understand what I mean, right?" I hung up the phone. I looked down at the wedding ring on my finger. "This is the only thing I have that doesn't require an application to Bai Ningbing. The only thing that doesn't need to be registered with her secretary." I blinked blankly and said, "Help me find someone to sell this wedding ring." "Have you gone mad?" I turned around slowly, and said firmly, "Aunt Su, I've never been more lucid, never this clear-headed in my life. I want a divorce from Bai Ningbing." 3 days later, Bai Ningbing returned to the villa. As soon as she entered the hall, the maid came to greet her. "A few days ago, the father-in-law had an accident. The master is in a bad mood. He's upstairs." Bai Ningbing already knew about the Fang family's trouble. She felt a bit annoyed. Carrying her luggage, she went upstairs. She pushed open the bedroom door, and saw me sitting by the wardrobe organizing my things. She walked straight into the walk-in closet, took her bathrobe and went to the shower. While showering, she thought, with my weak personality, by the time she finished her shower, I would probably have cooled off and helped her pack, and then continued to be her obedient canary. So when she stepped out of the bathroom, and found her suitcase still in the same spot, she felt it was time to have a talk with me. Bai Ningbing sat on the sofa, and casually picked up a magazine to read. After a while, she looked up at me and said, "How is your father's condition?" "I've already reprimanded Secretary Wu about that night." I put down the things in my hand, looked up and met her eyes. After a long silence, I said calmly, "Bai Ningbing, let's get a divorce." Bai Ningbing was clearly stunned. She knew that after that night, I must be unhappy. Later, when she learned about the Fang family's crisis, she immediately sent Secretary Wu to the hospital. It's just that I didn't accept the help. This was the first time I had ever disobeyed her. After a moment, she spoke indifferently. A few days ago you said you wanted to work. How is it that after only a few days, you're throwing a fit about divorce again? You've been a husband for too long, and now you want to experience the real world. Go take a look. How many people out there earn a few thousand, yet still have to work overtime and suck up to their bosses? You live in a 2,000 square meter villa. Being the husband, what more could you possibly be dissatisfied with? Her tone was heartless and cold. My lips trembled. I gave a dazed smile. Is there any husband like me? I suddenly stood up, pulled by Ningbing into the walk-in closet. With a crash, I flung open the wardrobe doors. Inside was a row of suits, a watch cabinet, but they were all locked with passcodes. I pointed at them, with a self-deprecating and ironic laugh. In what world does a husband need to report to his wife's secretary just to use a watch? In what world does a husband have to write a request form to his wife's secretary for every penny he spends? In what world does a husband not even have enough money for a taxi when he goes out? By Ningbing, tell me, is this how a husband is supposed to be? My family has fallen. You give me a monthly allowance of 100,000, but every time I take that check, I feel like a cheap man, just a piece of charity after someone has had their fun. Bai Ningbing coldly interrupted me. So that's how you think? Is there any man more pathetic than you, who doesn't even know how to please a woman? You want a divorce? What kind of life do you think you'll have without me? She pinched me so hard it hurt. I raised my hand to push her away. Bai Ningbing grabbed my hand. Her gaze was icy. Her eyes were cold, staring at my empty ring finger. Where is your wedding ring? I sold it. My voice was filled with despair. So, Bai Ningbing, let's get a divorce. After speaking, I gently pulled my hand away. I dragged out a suitcase, and began packing my things. Su Qinghan had heard a thing or two, that my marriage with Bai Ningbing started on a sour note. We've been married for several years, but it's always been lukewarm. We didn't even want children. People in our circle were betting on one thing: when Bai Ningbing would finally divorce me. Didn't people say she's keeping someone? Bai Group Secretary Wu knocked on the door. After receiving permission, he stepped inside. Bai Ningbing was on the phone. It was Madam Bai calling. The conversation was exactly what Secretary Wu needed to report. Bai Ningbing, how can you let Fang Yuan be so public? Who is Su Qinghan? And that man, Kuzhen, his reputation is atrocious. Fang Yuan must not associate with him. Bai Ningbing, you need to keep your husband in check. Bai Ningbing's tone was indifferent. Fang Yuan is trying to divorce me. How am I supposed to control him? Madam Bai cared most about the family's reputation. She went on and on, but her daughter wouldn't listen to a word. She hung up in a rage. Bai Ningbing put down the phone and looked at Secretary Wu. Fang Yuan went to Su Qinghan's place. Just as Secretary Wu was about to speak, suddenly, he noticed a velvet box beside Bai Ningbing. He recognized that box. My wedding ring was inside. She kept it beside her. That meant she must have opened it more than once. And on Bai Ningbing's ring finger, she always wore her silver wedding band. Bai Ningbing doesn't love me, yet she wore the ring all the time, as if warning other men that she was already married. Secretary Wu's fingers tightened slightly. After a moment, he gave a faint smile. It was introduced by Kuzhen, that model with the bad reputation. I wonder how Mr. Fang became so close to him. I knew exactly why. Su Qinghan only helped because of Kuzhen. I looked at Kuzhen. Kuzhen gave me a knowing look. Su Qinghan glanced at him sideways. She called the hotel manager, and asked him to show me around. Once everyone left, Su Qinghan walked to the door, and locked it. This office had an attached lounge, but she chose not to use it. She went straight for the desk. 3 hours later, it was over. She didn't even bother with him, just left him there and went to take a shower. The sound of running water came from the bathroom. Kuzhen lay slumped on the floor, not caring about anything else. He lit a cigarette, smoking slowly and aimlessly. He knew Su Qinghan could not understand why a man like him would treat me so well. In truth, I was the one who was good to him. We've known each other since middle school. Back then, his parents were addicted to gambling. They sold everything they owned, almost selling Kuzhen himself. Later, they lost everything. He became an orphan. He had nowhere to live, and no money for tuition. His classmates shunned him, looking at him like he was a monster. Finally, one day, he couldn't take it and stood on the rooftop. I was the one who dragged him back from the edge. I secretly brought him home, gave him clean clothes, and a hot bath. Then I brought him a huge plate of food from the kitchen. That was a taste Kuzhen would never forget. I hid him for 3 days. Later, I begged Fang Ye to rent a place for him. I supported him for 6 years. No one knows what I mean to him. As long as I need it. Kuzhan is willing to do anything, and give up everything. Kuzhan finished his cigarette, put on his clothes, and left swiftly. When Su Qinghan came out of the shower, Kuzhan was already gone. She slowly walked to the desk, staring at the small puddle of water on the surface. A faint smile played on her lips. Kuzhan is actually quite clever. Even Bai Ningbing would give him some face here. I wonder how Bai Ningbing will react. Probably no reaction at all. Bai Ningbing, I'm tired. I don't want to be trapped in a loveless marriage. I refused calmly. My father's current doctor is doing great. Bai Ningbing understood what I meant. I wasn't accepting her olive branch. I insisted on the divorce. She couldn't help but get angry. Fang Yuan, don't forget, we signed an agreement when we married. If we divorce, you won't get a single cent. I know, I answered quickly. Bai Ningbing's patience ran out. She stopped talking to me. 20 minutes later, the car drove into our villa. The car stopped. I unbuckled my seatbelt, and was about to get out. Click. Bai Ningbing locked the child locks. The atmosphere in the car became oppressive. Bai Ningbing had just returned from a business trip, and had stopped by the Bai residence. She was actually quite exhausted. With one hand on the steering wheel, she rubbed her brow, saying impatiently, "How much longer do you plan on acting out? Even now, she thinks I'm just throwing a tantrum." My heart turned cold. After a long silence, I whispered, "Bai Ningbing, I'm serious. I don't want to be with you anymore." Bai Ningbing stared at me with her dark eyes, unbuckled her seatbelt with one hand, and got out. I immediately got out and walked toward the villa entrance. Bai Ningbing stayed in the car for a long time, before finally getting out and following me upstairs. That night, I slept in the guest room. Bai Ningbing was still angry. She couldn't be bothered to speak to me. Early morning light streamed into the bedroom. Bai Ningbing found it blinding. She shielded her eyes, and woke up. Faint sounds drifted up from downstairs. She got out of bed and went to the walk-in closet to change. A moment later, her gaze froze. My suitcase was gone. Bai Ningbing opened the wardrobe. Sure enough, I had taken a few of my usual clothes. After staring silently for a few seconds, she closed the wardrobe. She picked out a business suit as usual. After changing, she freshened up, putting on her watch as she headed downstairs. Seeing the servant, she asked casually, "Where is Mr. Fang?" In front of the floor-to-ceiling window, Bai Ningbing stood by the glass. Moonlight filtered through the window, illuminating her profile, making her features look even more delicate. Once I finished my porridge, Bai Ningbing turned to look at me. "Grandmother called and wants us to go visit her. What do you say?" Bai Ningbing's grandmother had always been kind to me. I couldn't bear to break her heart, but my divorce from Bai Ningbing was something grandmother would have to know sooner or later. I thought for a moment and said, "Bai Ningbing, you should explain it to grandmother." "Explain what?" Bai Ningbing's eyes flashed. "Explain to her that you want a divorce, and that's why you can't visit in such a rush, afraid you'll miss out on your little affair." I didn't bother explaining. I stood up to change and leave, but Bai Ningbing wouldn't let me. She blocked my path with her arms spread, a hint of mockery in her expression. "Paid services, Mr. Fang, how about 20,000 per time, without my consent?" Bai Ningbing grabbed my phone, pressed my hand against it, unlocked the screen, and removed herself from the blacklist. She transferred 20,000 to me. After the transfer, she sneered, "Playing the zither for Su Qinghan all night only gets you 2,000. I retorted coldly, "Setting off fireworks for Song Jinyan once must cost at least 1 million. Right? What do you mean?" Bai Ningbing looked at me with a cold gaze, asking in a low voice again, "Fang Yuan, what do you mean?" I felt a surge of irritation. "It means nothing." After a long silence, she pressed me closer. Her face was almost touching mine, as she whispered in my ear, "Then tell me, what would be interesting?" Bai Ningbing was the one asking, but she didn't seem to want an answer, because in the next second, she pressed my hand against her body. I was stunned for a moment. Her soft, red lips immediately crashed onto mine. Gu Wanyin just stared at me. For some reason, she spoke as if possessed. "Where are you going?" "I'll give you a ride." I was quite surprised. Because of Gu Shiyan, Gu Wanyin had never been friendly toward me. Just the night before last, she had caused me trouble. Now she was offering me a ride. Instinctively, I felt she had ulterior motives. I took a step back, my tone slightly cold. "Gu Wanyin, you said you wouldn't make things hard for me anymore." Gu Wanyin stared at me. After a while, she softly uttered a few words. "I did say that." With that, she drove away. The black Land Rover left 2 trails of exhaust behind. I thought that was the end of it with Gu Wanyin. I didn't expect to see her again that night on the 56th floor of the Imperial Hotel. She was still playing cards with Su Qinghan and the others. But there were no starlets or young models beside her. As I stepped onto the stage, Gu Wanyin looked up. This subtle movement was caught by Su Qinghan. Su Qinghan glanced at me on stage, and casually played a pair of jokers. Gu Wanyin, you don't usually come here. What's gotten into you today? What wind blew you in? Gu Wanyin replied indifferently. Not welcome. Su Qinghan laughed. Don't be silly. I'd love for President Gu to come and shower me with money every day. Hearing this, Gu Wanyin only curled her lips slightly. While they were talking, Bai Ningbing arrived. She must have come from home, still in a black long dress, with a perfect figure, and a stunning face. She effortlessly captured everyone's attention the moment she entered. Su Qinghan looked at Gu Wanyin. Gu Wanyin shifted her posture, her expression more distant than before. After talking for a while, she found an excuse to call me outside, to talk to me. Yesterday, the hospital suddenly transferred Lu Ruyan for studies out of town. They said she won't be back for a while. Xiao Yuan, tell Auntie honestly, is this Bai Ningbing's doing? Is there something going on between you and Dr. Lu? I froze for a moment, thinking about the French restaurant Bai Ningbing had shown me last night. I guessed this was another warning from her. A chill ran through me. Until now, I finally felt Bai Ningbing's possessiveness. This possessiveness wasn't for me, Fang Yuan, but rather for the title of Mr. Fang. Fearing Su Ro's worry, I said softly, Aunt Su, please don't worry. I know where to draw the line. I grew up by Su Ro's side, so she naturally knew my character. She didn't say more at the moment. Su Ro entered the ward first. I stood in the hallway, looking down at my phone. I wanted to apologize to Lu Ruyan, but after hesitating for a long time, I ultimately didn't make the call. Perhaps not disturbing someone is the best way adults protect each other. I stayed at the hospital all morning. After lunch, I planned to get some new strings for my instrument. Just as I reached the bus stop, a black Land Rover suddenly pulled up beside me. The window rolled down, revealing a beautiful face. It was Gu Wanyin. Seeing me again, Gu Wanyin's expression grew complex. In the past, she looked down on me. She thought I would cling to Bai Ningbing until the end. But she never imagined that I would actually dare to challenge Bai Ningbing and demand a divorce. And my style of dress was different from before. I shed the sophisticated look of Mr. Fang, a simple shirt, black trousers, and a black knit vest over it, natural and effortless. I went upstairs, but Aunt Su wasn't home. I called her to ask, and Su Ro said she hadn't called Bai Ningbing's villa. I put down my phone, guessing the villa's servant must have lied to help me get away. I didn't think much of it. It was rare to have a night off. I went back to my bedroom and fell asleep early. I had a dream during the night. I dreamed of my newlywed life with Bai Ningbing again. Bai Ningbing was still utterly cold toward me. Her voice was always filled with impatience when she spoke to me. I woke up to the sound of my phone. I opened it, and it was actually a WeChat message from Bai Ningbing. Just a few simple words. Don't forget to visit Grandma tomorrow. I'll wait for you at the royal court after work. How could I forget? Thinking of Song Jinyan's brief fireworks, I simply accepted the transfer and donated it to an animal shelter. On the other side, Bai Ningbing was scrolling through her phone. She saw that I had accepted the 20,000 transfer. She thought he should at least reply. In the past, I loved sending her WeChat messages. Nothing particularly important. I just liked sending them. Those trivial things. Bai Ningbing never replied. Looking back, it seems that after my family's downfall, I stopped sending her messages like that. I stopped asking if she would ever fall for me. Actually, I changed a long time ago. It's just that she didn't care about me, so she never noticed. For the first time, Bai Ningbing sat alone in the car, thinking of me, thinking of our marriage. Early morning, I went to the hospital and bought some fruit. Aunt Su was quite happy inside, but she pretended to scold me for wasting money. The ones from a few days ago aren't even finished. Why did you buy more? Fang Dashan was in good spirits. He leaned halfway against the headboard. You should eat some too. The boy just cares about you. Those words made Su Ro's eyes well up. Bai Ningbing gave a soft huff. I don't know what Lu Ruyan's intentions are in helping you like that. But Mr. Fang, don't forget, you are still a married man. I gave a faint smile. Bai Ningbing's thoughts weren't hard to guess, nor was she hiding them. It was nothing more than a woman's petty jealousy. A husband she didn't love, yet she didn't want other women touching him, not even in their fantasies. I didn't want to give in to Bai Ningbing, but I didn't want to drag Lu Ruyan into this. After a moment's thought, I spoke in a low voice. Our marriage has nothing to do with her. Bai Ningbing, don't go after her. Bai Ningbing stared into my eyes. For a long moment, she reached out and lightly touched my face. I believe you, Mr. Fong. Her tone was slightly teasing. I found it unbearable. I turned my face away. I'm not what you think. Bai Ningbing looked at me steadily for a few seconds. She withdrew her hand, sat up straight, and her tone was more serious than I had ever heard. She asked me, Fong Yuan, if you could choose all over again, would you marry Lu Ruyan, or me? I was slightly stunned. I didn't expect Bai Ningbing to ask that. But clearly, Bai Ningbing didn't want to hear my answer. She softly opened the car door for me. Just as I stepped out, Bai Ningbing hit the gas. The black Bentley quickly sped away into the night, vanishing from my sight. I stood in the darkness. The night air was cold as water. I wrapped my clothes tighter around me, thinking about Bai Ningbing's question. Bai Ningbing asked me what I would choose if I could do it all over again. I smiled faintly. When young, one always chooses the one they love, even if it means being a moth to a flame, enduring all the bitterness. If I were to choose again now, I think perhaps I would choose to love myself. But life doesn't have that many what-ifs. I snapped back to reality, and found the car stopped at an intersection. The light ahead was red. I pulled my hand away from Bai Ningbing's grip, turned my head to look out the window, my attitude somewhat cold, not thinking of anything. Bai Ningbing looked at my indifferent profile, feeling a bit uneasy. She suddenly remembered the past, the days when we had just married. I was only in my early 20s back then. I loved her so much then. Every night when she came home from work, I would always rush downstairs to carry her bag, eagerly telling her about the dinner menu, drawing her bath before bed. But slowly, I stopped smiling as much, and stopped trying to please her. I seemed to have finally accepted the fact that she didn't love me, and slowly realized that no matter how much I did, it was all in vain in her eyes. All I ever got in return was indifference and neglect. I remained considerate, but this kindness was more of a husband's duty to his wife, devoid of love, more of a formality, just like the truth I spoke while drunk. Actually, I stopped liking her long ago. Thinking of this, Bai Ningbing also became a bit irritable. Her gaze returned to the road ahead, with no intention of speaking to me again. The green light turned on. The black Bentley slowly started moving. Under the neon lights, the car's body was luxurious and dazzling. I pressed my palm against the car window, staring at the French restaurant by the roadside. I froze. It had actually closed down. It had just opened a few days ago. I had even played the violin here, and later met Lu Ruyan and Bai Ningbing. I slowly turned my head, gazing at Bai Ningbing's profile. I finally understood why Bai Ningbing insisted on driving me. I spoke softly. Bai Ningbing, is this what you wanted me to see? Bai Ningbing focused on driving, and ignored me, until we reached the building where I live. The car stopped. Only then did she turn to look at me and say, do you know who owns that restaurant? I had a guess, but I didn't say it. Bai Ningbing's step paused slightly. A moment later, her voice was stern. No, it's because you crossed the line. She needs a competent secretary, not a petty person playing clever tricks. This is something Secretary Wu seems to have never understood. I slept for half the day. By the time I woke up, twilight had fallen. The bedroom lights were off, only the faint light from outside. I sat up. My body still felt weak. I looked down at the black pajamas I was wearing, assuming Bai Ningbing had changed me into them. The next second, the memories of my drunkenness came flooding back. At the bedroom door, Bai Ningbing stood quietly, watching me, seeing me dazed. She probably guessed what I was thinking. Bai Ningbing spoke indifferently. Nothing happened. Drunk to that extent. What did you think you could do? As we both fell silent, a servant brought porridge upstairs. The servant was quick-witted, sensing something was off in the atmosphere. They gave a forced smile and said, the master is ill. The mistress was so worried. That's why she specifically told us this morning to prepare something nourishing. Lotus root porridge is the best choice. Please freshen up, sir. Drink it while it's hot, and you'll feel much better. In front of the servant, I couldn't bring myself to cause a scene. Bai Ningbing also read my mind. She took the tray from the servant. You may leave. The servant withdrew. Bai Ningbing closed the door, and turned to place the tray on the small bedroom table. Then she looked up at me, still not getting up. Waiting for me to feed you? Her tone was harsh, clearly still resentful of my drunken truths from last night. Though I was messing with her, even if I want a divorce, I wouldn't joke with my own health. Besides, I was genuinely hungry. The lotus root porridge was fragrant. I finished a bowl, and felt much better. Secretary Wu was sitting on the sofa in the first-floor lobby. A servant poured him a cup of tea. He sat there drinking tea, his posture elegant and poised, acting like the master of the house. That was when Bai Ningbing came downstairs. Secretary Wu saw her, with an unmistakable look of admiration. Back in college, he had pursued Bai Ningbing, but his affection was insignificant among the many wealthy young heirs. Bai Ningbing sat opposite him. Secretary Wu smiled slightly, and spoke with a professional demeanor. Since Mr. Fong has returned, he should take over these matters from now on. As for Mr. Fong's living expenses and such, do they still need to be reported and registered with me? Bai Ningbing found these words repulsive, because when I brought up the divorce, that's exactly what I said. Seeing her silence, Secretary Wu took it upon himself. Don't worry, President Bai. I'll take care of everything. Bai Ningbing looked at him quietly. She was a rational woman. Which man admired her, or had designs on her? She could always tell. In the past, she didn't care, because it didn't affect her life. But clearly, Secretary Wu had crossed the line. Bai Ningbing considered for half a minute, and said calmly, "Next month, you're going to the Canadian branch. Your position and salary will remain the same." Secretary Wu was stunned. He forced a stiff smile. "President Bai, I have a girlfriend." Bai Ningbing said nothing. Secretary Wu gritted his teeth. "Next month, President Bai will receive my wedding invitation. This time." Bai Ningbing rose languidly. "Then I'll look forward to your good news." Secretary Wu's whole body was trembling. He knew in his heart, Bai Ningbing did this because she saw through him. She wouldn't allow those around her to harbor such thoughts. He couldn't help but ask, "President Bai, is it because of me?" Su Qinghan smiled subtly. "Bai Ningbing is here too. She's here to pick up Fong Yuan from work." Regarding her teasing, Bai Ningbing didn't take it to heart. She sat opposite Su Qinghan, took a sip from her red wine glass, and said softly, "I'll take Fong Yuan back to the ancestral home for a night. Grandmother misses him quite a bit." Su Qinghan gave a playful smirk. "You've got some moves." She lowered her voice. "But can you still get Fong Yuan to come along? I heard from Kuzhen that you two are preparing for a divorce. Fong Yuan's divorce papers were sent to your office, right?" Marital privacy. Bai Ningbing had no interest in sharing. At that moment, she unexpectedly found Gu Wanyin there as well, though her expression seemed indifferent. But sometimes a woman's intuition is incredibly accurate, especially when the man is her own husband. That radar is beyond precise. "Gu Wanyin came because of me." Bai Ningbing's dark eyes grew deep, looking at me on the stage, watching me quietly for a while. Then she withdrew her gaze. "Let's play poker. Same old rules. 10 per round." Su Qinghan agreed. "Just 10 per round." Gu Wanyin said nothing, and began to shuffle the cards. "I'm leaving early at 10. I had just stepped down, when Bai Ningbing tossed her cards onto the coffee table, and stood up. "I'm leaving first." Su Qinghan looked in the direction Bai Ningbing left. With a playful smile, she turned around, and said as if casually, "Gu Wanyin, stop looking. They've been married for 3 years. I'm not trying to judge, but you're truly fickle." Lu Ruiyan's gaze was like an ink-stained night, and so was Bai Ningbing's. After a long while, Bai Ningbing leaned over to fasten my seatbelt. I was half awake, half asleep from the alcohol. I shifted uncomfortably, still mumbling softly, "I'm not going back with you." Bai Ningbing gently stroked my cheek, her voice slightly husky. "Not going back with me? Then who are you going back with?" She didn't care what I was saying. She straightened her posture, and looked expressionlessly at Lu Ruyan opposite her. Then, under that person's gaze, she took me away. 2 luxury cars passed each other. Lu Ruyan's hand on the steering wheel tightened slightly, while Bai Ningbing let out a cold sneer. The city lights dimmed. The night grew deep. Bai Ningbing's car slowly drove into the villa. Hearing the noise, the servants immediately came to open the door, asking obediently, "Miss, would you like a late-night snack?" After speaking, she paused. "The master is back." Bai Ningbing unbuckled her seatbelt, and spoke indifferently. "Brew some sobering tea, and bring it upstairs in a bit. The master is drunk." The servant nodded hurriedly and went to do it. Bai Ningbing turned to look at her husband in the passenger seat. I had fallen asleep in the car. Bai Ningbing was no saint. It had been a long time for her. She leaned over and reached out to hold me, playing with me slightly. Her beautiful eyes stared at my face, watching my expression without blinking. I have needs too, especially since I'm drunk. Being treated that way by Bai Ningbing, I unconsciously murmured her name, over and over again. Bai Ningbing. With a click, Bai Ningbing unbuckled my seatbelt. She got out and supported me, walking straight toward the mansion. I had been drinking, and her swaying made my head ache. Bai Ningbing, slow down. I was talking about walking, but it sounded so suggestive. She tilted her head and downed the liquor, then supported me as we left. The room fell silent. No one was stupid. They could all tell that Gu Wanyin had offended Bai Ningbing. After a while, Su Qinghan patted Gu Wanyin. You misjudged her, didn't you? Not just you. Even I didn't expect Bai Ningbing to step in. But thinking about it carefully, if she really didn't like him at all, when the Fang family fell, she should have divorced him. She's held on for over a year now. Gu Wanyin leaned back in her chair, covering her eyes with her hand. Suddenly, she felt very uneasy. I had been drinking, and was half drunk. Bai Ningbing took me to the parking lot, opened the passenger door, and told me to get in. I didn't want to. I was drunk, but not dead drunk. Leaning against the car door, I tilted my head up slightly. Bai Ningbing, I don't want to go home with you. We're getting a divorce. Bai Ningbing looked down at me, her dark eyes staring at me intently, watching my unrestrained state after drinking. She had never seen me like this. A black shirt and trousers, an outfit that should have been perfectly dignified, yet now radiated masculine charm. Bai Ningbing leaned into my ear, hissing through her teeth, "Look at you now. Where is a shred of that gentleman left?" I looked up at her, my gaze seeming to clear for a moment, only to become clouded again. Bai Ningbing gave up reasoning with me, and shoved me straight into the car. With a hint of roughness, I made a fuss to get out. My body leaned against the seat back, constantly muttering things Bai Ningbing hated. Bai Ningbing was quite annoyed. She locked the doors immediately, and was about to buckle my seatbelt, when her gaze caught a car opposite, and the person sitting inside, Lu Ruyan. Both cars had their headlights on. Two women sitting in their respective cars, sizing each other up. She looked toward Bai Ningbing. Bai Ningbing leaned against the sofa, still playing with her wine glass. Her dark eyes lowered, her emotions unreadable, appearing as if she didn't care. Su Qinghan thought to herself, it seems Bai Ningbing and him really are getting a divorce. Just as she wanted to offer some advice, I picked up a glass of liquor. I gazed silently at Gu Wanyin, and asked calmly, if I finish these 3 glasses, regardless of the situation, will you stop making things difficult for me? Gu Wanyin narrowed her eyes slightly. She had planned to torment me. After I divorced Bai Ningbing, she never expected that I was much smarter than she thought. But 3 glasses of liquor were more than enough for me to handle. Gu Wanyin chuckled softly. I promise. Drink these 3 glasses of liquor, and our past will be wiped clean. Even if you divorce Bai Ningbing, I won't trouble you. I knew her well enough not to fear her breaking the promise. I looked down at the liquor in my hand. My tolerance was poor. I'd collapse after 1 glass. But I had no choice but to drink. The Fang family was crumbling. I couldn't afford another enemy. I tilted my head and downed the entire glass. Once finished, the alcohol rushed to my head instantly, my face flushing deep red. Gu Wanyin felt a flicker of excitement, though she didn't know what it was. After I finished 2 glasses, Su Qinghan spoke up. Gu Wanyin, that's enough. But Gu Wanyin didn't relent, still wanting to vent her anger. I was actually at my limit, but I still picked up the 3rd glass. The hand holding the glass was trembling slightly. Just as I was about to drink, Bai Ningbing spoke indifferently. Everyone present was quite surprised. Bai Ningbing rose from the sofa, one hand grabbing my wrist, the other taking the glass from my hand. She looked at Gu Wanyin, her tone laced with displeasure. The last glass. I'll drink it for my husband. He stared at me. Kuzhen said, go to Su Qinghan's place. It's a proper 6-star hotel. After all, if you're going to perform, the audience there is of a higher class. I've already told her. 2,000 per night, not a penny less. 4 days off per month. I knew about the thing between Kuzhen and Su Qinghan. I knew. I wanted to refuse, but Kuzhen was unusually adamant, slowly exhaling a cloud of pale gray smoke, looking completely indifferent. I've been with her for a long time. I didn't know how to respond. Kuzhen patted my shoulder. Actually, there is something that you should pay attention to. Do you still remember Teacher Wei? I heard a wealthy investor set up a project fund, and invited him back to lead it. The condition is that Teacher Wei must mentor his little mistress. I know Bai Ningbing was the one who arranged it. Kuzhen was stunned. That mistress is none other than Song Jinyan. Xiao Yuan. Why can't these 2 just leave us alone? If not for that accident back then, you would have gone abroad to study with Teacher Wei long ago. You wouldn't have to serve Bai Ningbing. Kuzhen took a drag of his cigarette to calm his nerves. Finally, he complained. Bai Ningbing is a real piece of work. The price for one night's sleep is way too damn high. He thought I would back down, but I spoke calmly. Teacher Wei called me. He said he hopes that during these 4 years in China, I can study under him. Kuzhen said excitedly. If you miss this chance, Xiao Yuan, I'll be the first one to kill you. Early the next morning, Kuzhen took me to a hotel owned by Su Qinghan, the most high-end hotel in B City, the Imperial Hotel, a quasi-6-star luxury. Usually, things like this aren't something Su Qinghan would bother with, but to show her respect for Kuzhen, Su Qinghan met me in person. She arranged a job for me. Every night from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m., 3 hours of work, a monthly salary of 60,000. It was incredibly generous. As I played the violin, my hands trembled slightly, but the music was still beautiful. Ningbing was somewhat surprised. She knew nothing of music, but I played this nocturne perfectly. Beyond the beauty, there was a hint of familiarity, as if she had heard it somewhere before. Bai Ningbing was certain, both before and after the marriage, she had never heard me play the violin. Then where was it from? While she was pondering, the piece ended. Applause erupted around her. Below the stage, Gu Wanyin didn't expect to run into me. She had a bit of a grudge against me. Back then, her brother Gu Shiyan had pursued Bai Ningbing passionately, but I beat him to it, losing such a perfect marriage alliance. How could Gu Wanyin be happy about that? She intended to make things difficult for me. She leaned over with a smile. Her tone was probing. Bai Ningbing, Fang Yuan is here too. Bai Ningbing toyed with her wine glass. Without saying a word, Gu Wanyin assumed Bai Ningbing didn't care about me, so she called out to me on stage, Fang Yuan. I looked over. I knew Gu Wanyin had ulterior motives, but Su Qinghan was there. I had to show Su Qinghan some respect. I walked over. Gu Wanyin poured me 3 glasses of baijiu. Gu Wanyin spoke politely. Fang Yuan, I didn't expect to see you here. When you married Bai Ningbing, Yao Feng was immature. He threw a bit of a tantrum. Today, I apologize on his behalf. Gu Wanyin socialized often. Her tolerance was immense. 3 glasses of baijiu were like drinking water to her. After drinking, she stared straight at me. Fang Yuan, you, Mr. Fang, surely wouldn't look down on me and refuse to give me this courtesy, right? Su Qinghan sat there, a slender finger resting on her chin. Normally, since I worked for her, she should have stepped in, but since Bai Ningbing remained silent, why should she bother? Besides, she wanted to see Bai Ningbing's reaction. Bai Ningbing didn't care about Kuzhen, nor did she care about Su Qinghan. She thought of Lu Ruyan. The way Lu Ruyan looked at me was exactly how a woman looks at a man she loves. Childhood neighbors was nothing more than a cover. Bai Ningbing leaned back. She casually flipped through some documents. Her voice was indifferent. Tonight's gathering with Gu Wanyin will be held at the Imperial Hotel. Secretary Wu was surprised once again, because Bai Ningbing's business meetings were usually held at bland business hotels. Utterly unremarkable. This exception was because of Fang Yuan. She remained silent for a long while. Bai Ningbing looked up at her. Is there a problem? Secretary Wu quickly bowed her head. President Bai, I'll arrange it immediately. The 56th floor of the Imperial Hotel. Gu Wanyin's group had already arrived, including Su Qinghan. The circle was sitting and playing cards. Most of the women were surrounded by handsome young men, young stars, young models. This entire crowd were the most powerful second-generation heirs in B City, and Bai Ningbing was at the very top of that pyramid. So when she arrived, several of them specifically stood up. Once Bai Ningbing sat down, Su Qinghan personally poured her a drink. She teased, "You're quite a rare guest here, but there's someone even rarer. Bai Ningbing. You definitely won't guess who." Bai Ningbing already knew who it was. It could only be Lu Ruyan. Just as she was feeling displeased, I stepped out. I set up my violin as usual. Just as I was about to play, my gaze froze. I saw Bai Ningbing. Inside the performance hall, the lights were dim. Bai Ningbing leaned against her seat, radiating an aura of luxury, glaring at me coldly. Her look was just like it was at home, when she tortured me, watching me sink into desire all alone. Even though I had already asked for a divorce, when our eyes met, I still couldn't help but shiver. After a 6-month Cold War with my girlfriend, I secretly went to a bar to let loose with my best buddy. Her call came through, asking where I was. I said I was at home, getting ready for bed. Her voice was cold. "Answer the video call." "I can't. It's not convenient." The next second, she sent a photo. Who is the girl next to you? Dare touch her waist one more time, I'll chop your hands off. I turned around, feeling utterly hopeless. Watching her take off her watch, I knew I was doomed. The last time she took off that watch, I couldn't get out of bed for an entire week. She wasn't always like this. She was the girl next door, the one I'd loved in secret all my youth. Once, after losing control while drunk, out of a sense of responsibility, she married me. I was overjoyed, abandoning my career and my life. My friends all said that I'd never be able to leave her. I thought so too, until I discovered her second phone. A man had sent a selfie. Miss Bai, thank you for the birthday gift. I stared at it for a long time, a strange bitterness filling my heart. Behind me, the sound of the bathroom door sliding open. Bai Ningbing stepped out, shrouded in steam. How much longer are you going to look? She snatched the phone from my hand, without a hint of embarrassment at being caught by her husband. I knew her confidence came from her wealth, because at this moment, I was just a kept man. I didn't confront her about the photo, nor could I afford to. Seeing that she was about to leave, I quickly spoke up. Bai Ningbing, there's something I want to tell you. She slowly fastened her buttons, looking at me, her tone cold. I have 5 minutes. The driver is waiting downstairs. I guessed where she was going, my eyes darkening. I want to go back to work. Bai Ningbing fastened her watch strap, glancing at me, staring for a moment, then pulled a checkbook from her pocket. She wrote a series of numbers, tore it off, and handed it to me. Isn't being a full-time husband good enough? Work doesn't suit you. With that, she turned to leave. I chased after her, my posture humble. I don't mind the struggle. I really want to work. I can play the piano. She had no patience to listen. In her eyes, I was nothing more than a pathetic trophy husband. Once you're used to being provided for, you're unfit for the public eye, and certainly can't handle hardship. Bai Ningbing glanced at her watch. Time's up. She left without a single backward glance. I couldn't stop her, only as she gripped the doorknob, did I hurriedly ask, "It's my father's birthday this Saturday. Do you have time?" Bai Ningbing paused. "We'll see." The door closed softly. A moment later, the sound of an engine starting drifted up, fading into the distance. A few minutes later, the servants came upstairs. They knew the couple's relationship was strained, so they acted as the messengers. "The madam is going to L City for a few days. She said there's something important. The company just delivered a batch of her clothes. Sir, should they be sent to the laundry, or will you wash and iron them by hand?" I sat on the sofa, dazed for a long time. "I'll wash them by hand." Because Bai Ningbing hated the smell of dry-cleaning solvents. Almost all of her clothes were hand-washed by me. Beyond this, Bai Ningbing's standards were high in every other way. She didn't like eating out, and she couldn't stand a single speck of clutter in the bedroom. So I learned to cook, and flower arranging. I gradually became the perfect house husband. My entire life had dwindled down to just Bai Ningbing. Yet, she still didn't love me. I stared at that check, closing my eyes. 6 years. I had loved her for 6 whole years. I didn't get to wait for her return. That night, a disaster struck the Fong family. News broke that the eldest daughter, Fangya, due to the Fong Group's financial scandal, might be sentenced to 10 years. That same night, my father was hospitalized with acute cerebral hemorrhage. His condition was critical, requiring immediate surgery. I stood in the hospital corridor, calling Bai Ningbing repeatedly. But after several attempts, there was no answer. Just as I was about to give up, the call connected. Her voice carried a hint of impatience. "Do you need money? I've told you many times. If you need money urgently, contact Secretary Wu." I stared blankly at the news on the electronic screen. The president of Bai Pharmaceutical Group, to win a smile from a beauty, rented out the entire Disneyland for a fireworks display. The sky was ablaze with brilliance. Beneath the fireworks, a young man sat in a wheelchair, smiling radiantly, and my wife, Bai Ningbing, stood behind the wheelchair. After a long silence, my voice sounded broken. "Bai Ningbing, where are you?" There was a pause on the other end, as if she were displeased that I was checking up on her. But she gave a perfunctory reply. "I'm still busy. If there's nothing else, I'm hanging up. Contact Secretary Wu." She didn't notice the heartbreak in my tone, but the way she looked down at the person beside her was so tender. So, Bai Ningbing could be this gentle too. Behind me, my stepmother Su Ro's voice rang out. Did you get through to Ningbing? You must get Ningbing to help us with this. Su Ro stopped mid-sentence, because she too had seen the scene on the screen. Bai Ningbing's expression turned grim, staring at my frail back. She never imagined I'd have such a rebellious day, to resolutely demand a divorce from her. An inexplicable rage flared up within her. You're acting out, just because of Song Jinyan? Why not just be honest? Didn't you scheme your way into being Mr. Fang? Why don't you want it anymore? Even now, she still believes I was the one who did it back then. As she spoke, ignoring my protests, she embraced me from behind, and pushed me down onto the bed. Bai Ningbing had always been dominant, and I often found it hard to resist. I always just went along with her whims. But now that we're getting a divorce, how could she still do this? Bai Ningbing, we are still legally married. Why wouldn't this be allowed? Bai Ningbing was bordering on madness, completely disregarding the consequences. Bai Ningbing, you forgot protection these past few days. I'll get pregnant. Hearing this, Bai Ningbing stopped. But then, she let out a sneer. It seems you've been thinking a lot lately. Bai Ningbing propped one hand beside me, while the other opened the nightstand drawer, and pulled out an unopened small box. 3 English letters were printed on it. Just as I was about to open it, the phone rang. Bai Ningbing answered with a frown. On the other end was her mother, Mrs. Bai. Mrs. Bai's tone was indifferent. Ningbing, your grandmother isn't feeling well. Come back and visit her, and bring Xiao Yuan along. Your grandmother said she wants his lotus root cakes. Bai Ningbing pressed her hand against me. Her dark eyes looked down at me coldly. She told the person on the phone, I'll bring him over in a moment. She hung up. She stood up to get dressed. Grandmother is sick. She wants to see you. You're the one who wants me to go. We'll talk when we get back. The black Bentley slowly drove out of the villa gates. Bai Ningbing held the steering wheel with one hand, focused on the road, occasionally glancing at me through the rearview mirror. 3 years of marriage. I rarely rode in her car. Now that I want a divorce. Naturally, I didn't want to speak. Both of us remained silent. Half an hour later, the car entered a manor villa halfway up the mountain. The car stopped and the engine cut off. Bai Ningbing turned to look at me. Grandmother is in poor health. She can't handle any shocks. You know what to say. I opened the car door. My voice was cold. Don't worry. Bai Ningbing stared at my back. She stepped out and hurried toward me, grabbing my hand. She could feel my resistance. Then she tightened her grip on my palm. Don't forget what you just said. My fingers curled slightly, but I didn't pull away again. In the hall, Mrs. Bai saw us enter hand in hand. She couldn't help but frown slightly. But then she said indifferently, Dr. Wang just left. Go and see her. After saying that, she looked at me. I called her mom. For a long while, Mrs. Bai barely gave a response. Entering the bedroom, the old lady was indeed unwell, groaning as she leaned against the bed. Seeing Bai Ningbing bring me in, her old eyes immediately lit up. Waiting for the stars, waiting for the moon. Finally, Xiao Yuan has arrived. Bai Ningbing pushed me forward. She whispered in the old lady's ear, I knew you weren't feeling well, so I brought him to you. The old lady smiled, her eyes squinting, but she pretended not to hear clearly, leaning in and asking loudly, Are you and Xiao Yuan making a baby? Making a baby is what's important. I'm old already. It doesn't matter. Knowing full well the old lady was doing it on purpose, Bai Ningbing still glanced at me. I wouldn't play along with her public display of affection. After chatting with the old lady for a while, I stood up. I'll go make the lotus root cakes. After I left, the old lady's smile vanished. She leaned back and asked, Ningbing, what's the deal with that Song Jinyan? Taking care of him occasionally is one thing, but setting off fireworks? Be careful your husband gets jealous and makes a scene. Pay more attention to Xiao Yuan's family. Don't act like it has nothing to do with you. If you stay this cold, he might just leave. Bai Ningbing gave a few vague answers, without explaining the fireworks. Perhaps it was just a gesture of passion. After chatting for a long time, I brought the snacks over. The old lady loved them. She took a bite of the snack, and got to the point. Ningbing, you'll be 30 in 2 years. Your childhood friends already have 2 kids each. When are you going to give me a great-grandchild? I remained silent. Bai Ningbing glanced at me, picked up a lotus root cake. We're still young. Let's just have fun for a couple more years. The old lady saw right through it, but she didn't want to say it openly. We had dinner at the Bai residence. It was very late by the time we left. Bai Ningbing buckled her seatbelt, and glanced at me. I turned my face away, looking out the window. Bai Ningbing watched me for a while, then gently pressed the accelerator. The black Bentley drove smoothly. The lights on both sides blurred past. She clearly wanted to talk to me, which is why she wasn't driving fast. About 5 minutes later, Bai Ningbing spoke up. Tomorrow, I'll arrange for your father to be taken to Bai Hospital. The best team of specialists will treat him. Also, if you need money in the future, just tell me." Her tone was quite gentle, a sort of concession. Holding the steering wheel, she continued. "Secretary Wu won't be coming to the house anymore. Keep those luxury watches for yourself. I'll handle it with him." I listened in silence. I've been married to Bai Ningbing for 3 years, and I know her personality well. Honestly, these concessions were practically an act of grace. But she didn't mention Song Jinyan once. Which means, if I accept her arrangement, Song Jinyan will still be in our lives. Nothing will change. Su Ro glared at me, wiping her hands with a rag, and said angrily, "If your father finds out you're divorcing, he'll probably die of shock." Fang Yuan, let's be realistic. Even if you really can't live with her anymore, will you be able to survive after the divorce? Look at the state of the Fang family. How are you going to support yourself? I slowly tightened the lid of the thermos. Once it was closed, I looked down and said, "I'll find a way. The money from selling the wedding ring is enough for Dad's medical bills for 6 months. As for my sister's legal fees, I plan to sell this house. Also, I'll get a job to support the family." As I spoke, my eyes welled up. This house was left to me by my mother. No matter how hard things got, I never touched it. Su Ro was stunned. She stopped trying to persuade me, but she still didn't agree. After settling things at home, I went to the hospital. After the treatment, my father's condition has mostly stabilized. He's just been feeling a bit down. He's still worried about my sister Fang Ya's future. I haven't mentioned the divorce yet. The attending physician came for rounds this afternoon. Dr. Lu Ruyan, a young authority in neurosurgery. She's beautiful, elegant, and has a great figure. After the exam, she glanced at me. "Let's talk outside." I was stunned for a moment. Then I put down what I was holding, and whispered to my father, "I'll be right back." A moment later, we walked to a quiet corridor. Noticing my nervousness, Lu Ruyan gave me a reassuring smile. Then she looked down at the medical records. "I discussed this with several department heads last night. We all agree that Mr. Fang's father should receive customized rehabilitation. Otherwise, it'll be hard for him to return to his former state. The only thing is, it's quite expensive. Around 150,000 a month. 150,000 was an astronomical sum for me now. But I didn't hesitate. I spoke up. "We'll take the treatment." Lu Ruyan closed the file, and looked at me silently. Actually, we knew each other before. But I had forgotten. When I was very young, she lived next door. She remembered how every summer evening, small stars would light up on the terrace outside my room. I would sit there longing for my mother. I asked her, "Sister Ruyan, will Mom come back?" Lu Ruyan didn't know, and she had no way to answer. Now, as she gazed at me, she recalled the news of my marriage when she returned 3 years ago. She thought I had found love. But I haven't been living well. Bai Ningbing was cold to me, and treated me poorly. Just as Lu Ruyan was about to speak, a cold voice rang out from across the hall. "Fang Yuan." It was Bai Ningbing. It seemed she had come straight from the office. She walked toward us, her high heels clicking on the floor. A sharp, crisp sound. Soon, Bai Ningbing arrived in front of us. She extended her hand, her voice lazy, with a hint of disdain. "Senior Lu, long time no see." Lu Ruyan looked at the hand before her, smiled faintly, and reached out to shake it. "President Bai, what a rare guest." Bai Ningbing let go immediately, and turned to look at me. "Go check on him." An undercurrent of tension surged between the two women. I didn't notice it. I couldn't afford to be cold to Bai Ningbing in front of Dr. Lu. So I nodded. "Dr. Lu, I'll head back in now." Lu Ruyan gave a slight smile. Bai Ningbing and I walked toward the ward together. Neither of us spoke. Ever since I decided on the divorce, I stopped walking on eggshells to please her, or trying to win her over. As we approached the door, Bai Ningbing suddenly grabbed my wrist, pinning me between her and the wall. Her gaze was complex. The way Lu Ruyan had looked at me just now, was the look of a woman looking at a man. Bai Ningbing stared intensely at me. Her voice was slightly husky. "What did she say to you?" I tried to pull away, but Bai Ningbing tightened her grip, pressing me back against the wall. Our bodies were pressed tight, hard against soft. I felt uncomfortable. "Bai Ningbing, we're in a hospital." "I know that." Bai Ningbing remained unmoved. She pressed her body firmly against mine, her beautiful face leaning close to my ear, her voice carrying a hint of danger. "Do you know who she is?" I guessed what she was thinking. "She is the CEO of the Z Group. She has status. She has power. She won't allow her husband to be too close to another woman." I gave a bitter smile. I said, Bai Ningbing. I don't have those dirty thoughts you do, nor do I have the heart for it. Rest assured, until we get divorced, I won't be involved with anyone else. After saying that, I pushed her away, and turned to enter the ward. Bai Ningbing followed me inside. She frowned the moment she entered. It's not even a private room. Su Ro brought her a chair, speaking softly. Please, sit. I'll have Xiao Yuan peel some fruit for you. Xiao Yuan, don't just stand there. You'll head back with Bai Ningbing in a bit. I'll take care of your father here. Bai Ningbing sat down, chatting with my father. She's usually cold to me, but in front of my father, she's flawless. Having spent years navigating the business world, as long as she intends to please, it's easy for her to make people like her. My father has always liked her. But when Bai Ningbing suggested switching hospitals, my father still refused. He said with a smile, let's not make a fuss. It's fine here. That Dr. Liu is very responsible too. Bai Ningbing knew where to draw the line, and didn't push it. As long as you're comfortable, Dad. Just then, I peeled an apple and handed it to her. But Bai Ningbing took it and set it aside. Instead, she grabbed my arm. She stood up and said to my parents, I'll take Xiao Yuan home now. Please take care of yourself. My father nodded, watching us leave. As Su Ro tidied up, suddenly, my father spoke. They've been fighting lately, haven't they? Su Ro's hand trembled. She quickly tried to hide it. That's not true. Xiao Yuan and Ningbing are doing great. My father sighed softly. You're still lying to me. The way Xiao Yuan looks at her has changed. He used to have a light in his eyes when he looked at her. Now, it's gone. Su Ro was stunned for a long while. She whispered, try to talk to him. My father slowly leaned back against the headboard. After a pause, he spoke softly. I won't. If he doesn't bring it up, I'll just pretend I don't know. Xiaoya has already lost her freedom. I don't want Xiao Yuan to lose his too. Su Ro hesitated to speak. Bai Ningbing led me downstairs. The evening sunset stained the black Bentley a deep crimson, luxurious and dazzling. I was pushed into the car. Just as I tried to get out, she held me in a death grip. Bai Ningbing's expression was cold. From outside, no one could tell how forceful she was. I couldn't move an inch. I couldn't believe how strong this woman was. Once I stopped struggling, Bai Ningbing finally let go. She remained silent for a long while. Looking at her profile, the dim light cast a shadow across her face, making her features seem even more delicate and beautiful. Coupled with her status, she could easily make any man's heart flutter. I vaguely remembered that it was this face that once bewitched me, making me love her for all those years. Bai Ningbing turned to look at me. She rarely bothered with my affairs. She didn't truly care for me, but she didn't want a new husband. Women of her status don't replace their husbands easily. After a moment, she pulled a velvet box from her pocket. She opened it. Inside was a diamond ring. It was the wedding ring I had sold that night. Bai Ningbing stared intently at my face, not missing a single flicker of emotion, as if trying to read every hidden thought in my mind. After a long silence, she spoke indifferently. Give me your hand. Put the ring on. Then come home with me. I'll act as if everything before this never happened. You will still be Mr. Fong. It was a rare act of mercy and grace, but I refused. Bai Ningbing's patience was wearing thin. What exactly do you want? I whispered. Divorce. Let's get a divorce. Bai Ningbing was stunned. I made a scene and refused to go home. Early the next morning, she couldn't even find a matching inner garment. She was in a foul mood. Just as she was about to snap, she saw, beside a white BMW in the parking lot, Lu Ruyan talking to a nurse. This made Bai Ningbing even more irritated. She pressed her tongue against the inside of her cheek. Then, her phone rang. It was Secretary Wu. Bai Ningbing answered, her tone harsh. What is it? Secretary Wu dutifully informed her. Mr. Fong just accidentally fell while getting out of bed. He may have damaged the nerves in his leg. He's in a very bad mood right now. President Bai, would you like to go to H City to see him? If you go, he will surely be happy. Bai Ningbing gripped the phone, remaining silent. She was clearly conscious of my presence beside her. Her volume was turned up high. I heard everything. I gave a faint, cold smile. I opened the door and stepped out. I walked away without looking back. A gust of evening wind blew past, leaving me chilled to the bone. Fortunately, when Bai Ningbing brought out the ring, my heart didn't waver. I didn't change my mind. I didn't want to return to that suffocating marriage. My figure grew smaller and smaller in the distance. Bai Ningbing stared at my retreating back, while speaking to Secretary Wu. Find the best doctor for him. Secretary Wu was quite surprised. Aren't you going to H City to see him? Bai Ningbing hung up immediately. After hanging up on Secretary Wu, she tried calling me, but the call wouldn't go through. Even my texts couldn't be delivered. I had blocked her number and all her apps. Furious, Bai Ningbing threw her phone aside. After a long while, she picked up the diamond ring and gazed at it silently. Now she believed it. I was dead set on leaving her. 3 days later, in the CEO's office on the top floor of the Bai Group building, Bai Ningbing stood before the floor-to-ceiling window, on the phone with old Mrs. Bai. The old lady missed me again, wanting her to bring me back for a visit. Bai Ningbing humored her. Just then, there was a knock at the door. President Bai, you have a special delivery. Bai Ningbing raised an eyebrow, guessing what it might be. A moment later, Secretary Wu entered, placed the package on the desk, and said softly, "It's from Mr. Fong." Bai Ningbing stood by the window for a few seconds, before slowly walking over. She picked up the document and opened it. It was exactly as she expected. A divorce agreement. She skimmed through it, quite the backbone, asking for nothing, leaving with nothing. Her expression grew darker and darker. After a while, she asked in a low voice, "What has he been up to lately?" Secretary Wu quickly replied, "It seems he's selling his house. Many people have viewed it, but no one has made an offer yet. Also, Mr. Fong is looking for a job. He won national awards in college, and a reputable agency seems interested in signing him. The pay and benefits are quite good." Bai Ningbing sat down, holding the divorce agreement. Her voice turned ice cold. "Find someone to contact the seller of that house. Drive the price down to the absolute minimum and buy it." She let out a sneer. "As for the job, he can't handle hardship." Secretary Wu was stunned. She thought President Bai would utterly destroy the Fong family. But she didn't. "Doesn't she hate Fong Yuan the most?" She hesitated for only a few seconds. Bai Ningbing's voice was reprimanding. "Get out." Secretary Wu retreated. Outside the office, she clenched her fists, hesitated for a moment, and made a phone call. 2 days later, "I sold the house." A house worth 50 million was bargained down to 28 million. Aunt Sue cursed them for being greedy, but I gritted my teeth and agreed, because my sister couldn't afford to wait. Besides the lawyer's fees, the Fong family had a massive financial hole to fill. Under such immense pressure, I had no choice at all. After selling the house, I managed to see Fongya. Fongya was beautiful and elegant. She used to be chased by noble sons wherever she went. Now, however, she looked haggard. She spoke to me through a glass partition. "Find a lawyer named Dai Mubai, Xiao Yuan. He can help me, and he can help you too." I wanted to get a clear answer, but time ran out. Fongya was being taken away. She looked at me, her little brother. Her eyes filled with an overwhelming reluctance to leave. In her eyes, I had always been the treasure of the Fong family. But now, I'm the one struggling for the family. Fongya had seen the newspapers. She knew exactly what I was going through. As she was leaving, I stood up, gripping the railing, veins bulging in my arms from the force. "Sister." Fongya put her index finger to her lips, silently mouthing 2 words. I watched as she was led away. For a long time, I slowly sat back down. Dai Muji. I must find Dai Muji. Just as I left the detention center, I got a call from that training institute. They politely addressed me as Mr. Fong, saying they didn't need any more people for now. After listening, I quietly hung up. I suspect this was Bai Ningbing's doing. She's forcing me to go back. I won't be so delusional as to think that Bai Ningbing has developed feelings for me over time. She just needs a husband to serve her, a facade to stabilize the Bai Group's stock market. To her, I, Fong Yuan, am worthless. My phone rang. I picked it up and checked. It was an unknown number, but it was Bai Ningbing on the line. Her voice was as cold and haughty as ever. "Fong Yuan, let's talk." Half an hour later, I entered the Bai Group headquarters. Secretary Wu personally met me downstairs, and escorted me to the CEO's office on the top floor. I pushed open the door. Bai Ningbing was reviewing some documents. Sunlight streamed in through the floor-to-ceiling windows, casting a glow upon her, making her look as beautiful as a goddess. Even Secretary Wu couldn't help but stare. "Mr. Fong is here." Bai Ningbing looked up. Her gaze swept over me. We hadn't seen each other for a week. I was still tall and handsome, but I looked significantly more worn down. Bai Ningbing didn't soften. She had always been cold-hearted toward me. She looked at Secretary Wu, giving a slight nod of her chin. "Get out first," and closed the door. Once Secretary Wu left, Bai Ningbing looked at me again, her voice laced with mockery. "It's been a week, and we finally see Mr. Fong. Why aren't you sitting down? You used to love making pastries, finding every excuse to bring them to me. Have you forgotten where the sofa is?" Bai Ningbing. I didn't come here to reminisce. Bai Ningbing stared at me. For a moment, she sneered. Then you're here to beg for mercy. She picked up the coffee from her desk, and took a small sip. As she did, her eyes remained locked onto mine. Bai Ningbing is incredibly sexy when she looks at men like that. She spoke calmly. I did some math for you before you arrived. Given the Fong family's current situation, you need to earn at least 30 or 40,000 a month, just to cover your father's medical bills. Of course, that's including the money from selling your wedding ring. I remained expressionless. As long as Ms. Bai is merciful, I'll find a way. Ms. Bai. Bai Ningbing scoffed. Just last week, you were still holding me in bed, calling me, Bai Ningbing, like a needy young wolf. How did it only take a few days to become Ms. Bai? I knew she had no intention of letting me go. My voice was very soft. Bai Ningbing, you have no feelings for me. If we divorce, I want nothing. You lose nothing, right? You can easily find another young, handsome man to marry. Bai Ningbing held her cup. She stared straight at me. She sneered. And then what? Let you keep the title of Mr. Fong, and cheat on me everywhere? Her words were cruel, and I was provoked. If you refuse to divorce, and refuse to let me go, then I only have one last option. Bai Ningbing's expression turned hideous. Before I could even react, she had already stepped close to me, whispering dangerously in my ear. What did you say? I didn't deny it. Instead of getting angry, Bai Ningbing laughed. She pressed against me, like lovers whispering. Who could you possibly go to? In a city like B City, with the name Mr. Fong, see who would dare take you. Bai Ningbing knew when to stop. She let go of me, and said softly and gently, come back and be Mr. Fong. We'll be just like we were before. I frowned deeply. Suddenly, I saw a brand new, glittering saxophone in the bookshelf opposite me. I remembered the gossip reports. The CEO of Bai Group, for a man's smile, spent 20 million on an exorbitant saxophone. So it was this one. I smiled, just like before, being her plaything just like before, serving her every day just like before, pleasing her, yet receiving not a shred of care or respect. Even her secretary could look down on me, just like before, sharing her with others, that kind of before. I don't want any of it. My smile faded. I spoke word by word. This, Mr. Fong, find someone else to play the part. After I spoke, I turned to leave. Bai Ningbing hugged me from behind, pressing her face against the back of my ear. My body shuddered slightly. Bai Ningbing let out a scoff. Divorce? Who's going to satisfy you after a divorce? An ordinary woman could never satisfy you. Usually, Bai Ningbing acts like a sophisticated career woman in public. But in that department, she's utterly crude. Sometimes I think she has psychological issues. Bai Ningbing went too far. I finally couldn't take it and slapped her across the face. The air froze instantly. This was the first time I'd ever laid a hand on her, and probably the first time the precious CEO Bai had ever been slapped by a man. And the target was the husband who used to be her most submissive. Bai Ningbing already had a temper. Her face instantly turned cold. The lingering heat of passion was wiped away in an instant, as if the passion from just moments ago had all been an illusion. Look at you now. You've finally learned how to fight back. Do you really want a divorce? Fong Yuan. 3 years ago, you plotted everything just to marry me. 3 years later, you're plotting everything just to leave me. Do you think you can just come and go as you please? Or do you think I, Bai Ningbing, am so easygoing that anyone can manipulate me? I froze. A chill ran through my entire body. Finally, Bai Ningbing told the truth. She hates me, Fong Yuan. She hates the Fong family. She hates Fong Ye too. She hated the accident that forced her to marry me. So after the Fong family collapsed, even though Bai Ningbing had the power to help, she just stood by and watched. I didn't explain the past anymore. I simply said in a flat tone, Bai Ningbing, I was reckless in the past, and I fell for you. It won't happen again. After a long silence, I looked up at her. She had been staring at me. Her gaze was so deep it was unreadable, but I didn't want to understand it. My voice sounded disheartened. Bai Ningbing, I'm truly exhausted. Let's just part ways amicably. With that, I opened the door and walked out. This time, Bai Ningbing didn't stop me. She just stood there, watching my retreating figure. After a long while, she looked down with a cold, thin smile. Most divorcing couples end up destroying each other. There's no such thing as parting amicably. As I left the Bai Corporation building, in my mind, Bai Ningbing's words kept echoing. Come home with me, and you'll still be Mr. Fong. Do you think you can just come and go as you please? Or do you think I, Bai Ningbing, am so easygoing, that anyone can manipulate me? Those words left me suffocating. I stood outside for a long time to catch my breath, before returning to my rented place. A dilapidated apartment in an old neighborhood, furnished with only the crudest furniture. Compared to the former Fong family villa, it was worlds apart. That day, Aunt Sue stood in the narrow living room in silence for a long time. I knew she wasn't used to it, but this is all I can afford right now. In the kitchen, Aunt Sue was brewing soup again. Seeing me return, she turned off the stove. "How is your sister doing?" I didn't mention the part about Bai Ningbing. I looked down and changed my shoes at the door, saying softly, "My sister told me to find a lawyer named Dai Muji. She said he can help us with the lawsuit." Dai Muji. Aunt Sue looked thoughtful, as if she had heard the name before. "Anyway, no matter what, find a way to get in touch with him. If he's truly capable, your sister might be able to get out." I gave a soft hum of agreement. I just called Kuzhen, and asked him to look into it for me. Kuzhen and I have known each other since childhood. After graduating, he became a model, traveling all over the world. His connections are vast. Hearing Kuzhen's name, Aunt Sue's expression became complicated. She used to dislike my friendship with him, thinking he was too involved in the entertainment industry. Who would have thought we'd need him now? Aunt Sue was silent for a moment. Then she served me a bowl of soup. "Drink this to nourish yourself. You've lost so much weight lately. Aren't you supposed to start at the training center next week?" I looked down at the soup, saying softly, "I'm not going. I'll look for another job." Aunt Sue sat down beside me. "What happened?" I didn't want her to worry, so I pretended to be casual. "It was Bai Ningbing. She made a few calls, and they fired me." "It's okay, Aunt Sue. I can find another job. There are so many listings in the newspapers. I'll find something." I thought she would scold me, but she remained silent for a long time, and only said, "As long as your sister can get out." She got up and went to the kitchen. But a moment later, Aunt Sue's voice drifted from the kitchen, sounding suppressed. "Xiao Yuan, do you think I am so heartless, that I would force you to live under Bai Ningbing's thumb? I know exactly what kind of person she is. Your father and I knew it all along. But what else could we do? If your sister couldn't get out, what would happen to you?" Aunt Sue began to cry as she spoke. My heart ached too, but I suppressed my emotions. "Aunt Sue, I'm grown up now. Even without my sister, I can take care of this family." Aunt Sue burst into tears. "I searched for a few days, but couldn't find a suitable job. I knew it in my heart. Any high-end institution had probably already been warned. They wouldn't hire me. So I lowered my standards, and joined a performance agency. They called it a company, but it was really just playing at anniversary openings. I was paid per performance. I was decent looking, and I played the violin well. The manager paid me 300 per performance. When there were many gigs, I'd do 3 or 4 a day. I played for at least 6 hours every day. My slender fingers were soon covered in calluses and blisters. Life was hard, a constant hustle, but I never regretted it. I never called Bai Ningbing, and neither did she. Occasionally, I'd see her in the news, attending banquets, acquiring companies. In every setting, Bai Ningbing was always so elegant and noble. On the roof of the hospital, I sat in silence. A chilled bottle of cola I just bought from the convenience store sat beside me. In the past, I wouldn't have touched a drink like this, because it's unhealthy. But now, I have it once in a while. That's when Lu Ruyan walked over, wearing a surgeon's white coat. She stood beside me, quietly watching the sunset with me. As the last sliver of golden light faded, I turned to look at her. I quickly stood up, feeling a bit awkward. Dr. Lu. The way Lu Ruyan looked at me was filled with old memories, very gentle. I felt uneasy. Then, her gaze drifted toward the distance, and she spoke softly. "Xiao Yuan, you used to call me Sister Ruyan when you were little. On summer nights, you loved sleeping in a small tent. My mom always brought you snacks. She's missed you a lot over the years." I was stunned for a long time, before it finally came back to me. I murmured, "Sister Ruyan." Those words carried a hint of heartache as I spoke them. During the years I had Sister Ruyan, I was carefree, still the precious young master of the Fong family. Now that we meet again, everything has changed. Lu Ruyan turned her head, looking at me quietly. Then, she pulled a bank card from her pocket. "There are 2 million in here. The password is your birthday. It should cover your father's medical bills." I refused to take it. "I can earn my own money." "Really?" Lu Ruyan looked at my hands, which were covered in medical bandages. Her throat tightened. "Xiao Yuan, you don't have to work this hard." She took some ointment to treat my wounds. Once she was done, I gently curled my fingers, and spoke slowly. "I used to live under the protection of others, with no sense of self. Now, I have nothing. But I'm only 24. I want to start over on my own. After saying that, I looked up at her. She was the same as always, her gaze gentle, yet with a touch of depth. I only stayed at the hospital for 2 hours. Later that evening, I rushed to a bar for an opening performance. By the time it ended, it was already midnight. Carrying my violin on my back, I walked down the deserted streets. A cold breeze blew past, and I couldn't help but shiver. Late at night, the neon lights grew dim. Huge screens on skyscrapers played gossip news, sustaining the city's nocturnal glamour. B-City business tycoon Bai Ningbing flew specifically to H-City to spend a romantic mid-autumn festival with her partner. In the footage, Secretary Wu was pushing Song Jinyan, blocked by reporters in the elevator lobby. Beside them, Bai Ningbing looked impatient. I think she was annoyed at being caught on camera. She seemed quite irritated. Then came Song Jinyan's interview. He smiled brilliantly into the camera. I'm very happy this mid-autumn festival. Next, I hope my legs can be healed. Also, I hope to study the violin. Under the genius, Mr. Wei. You ask about Ms. Bai. Ms. Bai is the most important woman in my life. After speaking, a flicker of guilt appeared in Song Jinyan's eyes. 4 years ago, he impersonated me. He made Bai Ningbing believe he was the one playing the violin every day. He was terrified she would find out, but he soon convinced himself that when Bai Ningbing woke up, it was he, Song Jinyan, sitting in the ward with the violin. Bai Ningbing would never know. Late night on the streets of B-City, I stood there in silence, tilting my head slightly, watching Bai Ningbing's tenderness for someone else on the big screen, until my body grew cold. I finally snapped out of it, whispering softly, "So, it's already Mid-Autumn Festival." Carrying my violin, I turned and left. The streetlights cast a long, long shadow behind me. Perhaps Song Jinyan was too high profile, but he finally alerted Mrs. Bai. Mrs. Bai came looking for me. At the time, I was performing at a shopping mall, wearing a cheap tuxedo rented from the performance company. My fingers were covered in bandages as I played the violin. If I hadn't said anything, who would have thought this was Mr. Fong of the Bai Group? Mrs. Bai stood below the stage, her expression stern. I saw her, and my fingers faltered for a moment, but I immediately focused back on my playing. During the intermission, Mrs. Bai walked over, her tone cold and distant. "There's a cafe outside. I'll wait for you there." With that, she left. I continued wiping my violin. A colleague nearby, worried, leaned in and whispered, "Fong Yuan, are you in trouble? That woman looked like she's not someone to mess with." I shook my head with a faint smile. "It's fine, just an elder I know." The colleague looked skeptical. I changed into my own clothes, and went to the cafe at the entrance. Mrs. Bai was sitting by the window. Because of her noble air, she stood out. I went over and sat down. Mrs. Bai ordered a lemon water for me, saying indifferently, "Drinking coffee is bad for your health." She looked at my clothes again, unable to resist scolding me. "If you want to experience life, I can arrange the best orchestra for you." What kind of place is this? Is this where a man like you, Mr. Fong, belongs? And what on earth are you wearing? Before Bai Ningbing returns, everything must be back in its proper place. This is utter chaos. She said a lot, and I just listened in silence. When she finished, I gave a faint smile. "I think this is great. I'm divorcing Bai Ningbing." "Don't you know exactly where she went?" Mrs. Bai was stunned. This was the first time I had spoken to her in such a tone, and I didn't call her mother. In the past, no matter how cold Bai Ningbing was to me, I always treated her with respect. Back then, Mrs. Bai found it unfamiliar, so I decided to be blunt. "I know you don't like me, so you came to find me today." I was quite surprised. "I always thought you preferred that I divorce Bai Ningbing." Madame Bai studied me in silence. "It's been a long time. I have changed, no longer timid. I've become sharp-tongued." But Madame Bai had been in high society for decades. Naturally, she had her ways. Hearing this, she smiled. A smile as light as a breeze. A moment later, Madame Bai stopped smiling. "I truly don't like you much, but by comparison, I dislike the idea of Song Jinyan entering the family even more. With that kind of messy background, to dare dream of climbing into the Bai family." Suddenly, she smiled again. "But he has no chance now. His leg is broken, and he's been divorced. No ordinary woman would want him, let alone Bai Ningbing." I felt a chill run through my body, but Madame Bai sighed softly and calmly. "You are handsome. No wonder Bai Ningbing can't let go." even while hating you. After speaking, Madame Bai stood up. She looked around, and said indifferently, I'll talk to Bai Ningbing, and tell her to take you back. She looked disgusted again. This place doesn't suit you. Madame Bai walked out of the cafe. A black luxury van was already waiting outside. The driver respectfully opened the door. After Madame Bai got in, she leaned back into the luxurious seat and relaxed. She knew what I was thinking. Nothing more than a lack of freedom. Like a kept pet. A wife who doesn't respect her husband. But hasn't everyone gone through that? Still too young. Too impulsive. Thinking of this, Madame Bai felt a wave of disdain again. She looked out the window, and saw a familiar face. This person had an outstanding aura. Quite dazzling in the crowd. But in Madame Bai's eyes, they were a thorn in her side. An irritating splinter. She muttered to herself, this little bastard. The driver almost thought he had misheard. How could Madame be using such vulgar language? He must have misheard. After Madame Bai left the cafe, I sat alone for a few minutes. I had no time for mourning, because I was busy making a living, busy rushing around. It started raining as I headed back late at night. Fearing my violin would get wet, I wrapped it in my coat, and hurried toward the bus stop. I rarely treated myself to a taxi, but on a rainy day, taxis are hard to find. Standing in the drizzling midnight rain for half an hour, I was shivering from the cold. Finally, I decided to run back. But after only 2 steps, I saw Bai Ningbing. On the shimmering road right in front of me sat a polished black luxury car. The window was halfway down, revealing Bai Ningbing's noble face. She wore an elegant black gown, looking as if she had just come from a formal event. She carried an air of effortless ease, making me look even more wretched. Across the rainy night, our eyes met, gazing silently. My lips trembled from the cold. I clung tightly to my violin, like clutching the last straw of survival. I knew deep down that this was an olive branch from Bai Ningbing. Now, I just needed to yield. Get in the car. I'd immediately have a clean blanket and hot water. No need to perform at the mall tomorrow morning. I would wake up in a luxurious, soft bed, and be Mr. Fong once again. But that wasn't what I wanted. I stood in the rain, gazing silently at her. The rain intensified, soaking my hair, blurring our vision of each other. For about a minute, I shielded my head with one hand, and ran forward through the rain. Water splashed against the expensive car body. She and I passed each other in the rainy night. On the late-night street, the sound of me running through the rain echoed beat by beat in Bai Ningbing's heart. Faintly, dully. She didn't get out. She let me pass her by. She saw that my face was devoid of color. She saw the medical tape on my fingers, and saw that I didn't have a single decent piece of clothing on. But even so, I did not bow my head to her. The rain continued to fall. In front of the windshield, the wipers swung relentlessly from side to side. The driver and Secretary Wu remained silent, because it was obvious that Bai Ningbing was in a foul mood. After a long while, Bai Ningbing finally spoke softly. Secretary Wu, can you explain why Fong Yuan isn't working at that institution, but chose this undignified performance company instead? Does he enjoy suffering? Secretary Wu was shaken. After hesitating for a while, he whispered, I thought this would make Mr. Fong come home sooner. I can explain to him that this wasn't your intention. In the dim light, Bai Ningbing's voice carried a hint of mockery. In his mind, is there any difference between what you did and what I did? Secretary Wu felt a sense of relief. But then, Bai Ningbing's voice suddenly turned cold and ruthless. Get out. Secretary Wu froze. President Bai. It's raining outside. Bai Ningbing leaned back in her seat, tilting her head slightly. She let out a sneer. If Fong Yuan can run around out there, why can't you? What part of you makes you think that you are more precious than Fong Yuan? Secretary Wu was beyond embarrassed. He knew in his heart that this was Bai Ningbing's punishment for him, because he had taken it upon himself to suppress me. Bai Ningbing's meaning was clear. Either run in the rain, or get the hell out of the Bai Corporation. He underestimated my place in Bai Ningbing's heart, and overestimated himself. Secretary Wu cowered as he got out of the car. The rain was heavy, soaking his professional attire. His face and head were drenched. Gritting his teeth, he ran through the rain. The driver up front watched in utter bewilderment. You have to know, Secretary Wu is usually the most arrogant, relying on being the CEO's junior. He looks down on everyone. Who would have thought his day would finally come? Bai Ningbing leaned back in the rear seat, watching silently. But in her heart, she was thinking of me. She wondered why she wanted me back so badly. My personality is too weak. It's not the kind she likes. In truth, Bai Ningbing had never loved anyone. Even if she considered marrying Song Jinyan before, it was only because when she woke up, she remembered being stunned by the sound of a violin. But later, whenever Song Jinyan played, she could not stand it anymore. It gave her a headache. As for me, maybe it was just habit. A few days ago, she lost a pair of earrings, and couldn't find them. If I were there, I would have told her exactly where they were immediately. And yesterday morning, she went to the dressing room to change, and got scratched by the metal handle of the wardrobe. This was the first time since we married. When I was around, I paid close attention to the humidity in the house. Every autumn and winter, I'd wrap everything prone to static in protective covers. Life with me was actually very comfortable. But while she enjoyed it, she ignored me. A rainy night, leaning in the car, Bai Ningbing thought of everything about me. Finally, she realized, the reason she wanted me back was because I suited the role of Mr. Fong, not because she had fallen for me. I hurried back to my distant rented house. Aunt Sue was waiting anxiously downstairs with an umbrella. I slowed my pace. Aunt Sue, why are you here? Once home, Aunt Sue used a towel to dry my hair. She said, I was worried, so I came to check on you. In this heavy rain, why didn't you take a cab? I sighed softly. It's hard to get a cab in the rain. Then I took a shower. When I came out, Aunt Sue had heated some soup to warm me up. While I was drinking the soup, Aunt Sue hesitated before asking, how are things going with Bai Ningbing? I paused. Then I continued drinking, whispering, she refuses to divorce. For now, I can't find a lawyer willing to take the case. But I've applied for legal separation. In 2 years at most, I can leave even if she refuses. Aunt Sue didn't say anything more. She silently applied medicine to my wound. Looking at the injury on my fingertip, Aunt Sue's nose tingled with emotion. Back then, you were a top student at the music academy. So many masters wanted to take you as a pupil. Even that musical genius surnamed Wei visited your home several times. And now you're playing in a place like that. I saw her distress. I comforted Aunt Sue. Once Dad recovers, and my sister gets out, I will continue my advanced studies. Only then did Aunt Sue smile. I believe in you. One day, we'll both be musicians. I smiled faintly. I hadn't smiled like that in a long time. Back in my room, I sat on the edge of the bed, carefully wiping down the violin, cherishing it dearly. Just then, my phone rang. It was the manager from the performance agency. He said a high-end French restaurant was opening tomorrow, and they wanted a sophisticated performance. The manager said cheerfully, I immediately thought of you, Fong Yuan. 5,000 yuan for 4 hours of playing. It's like money falling from the sky. Fong Yuan, I know you're short on cash, so let's split this 50/50ths. Fair enough, right? 2,500 yuan for 4 hours. I jumped up instantly. I'm usually not one for socializing, but I played along and spoke sweetly. The manager specifically reminded me to dress formally tomorrow. I agreed. After hanging up, I couldn't help but hug my violin, stroking it over and over. After the initial excitement, I went to pick out a suitable outfit. After searching for a while, I saw that white cotton shirt and black trousers. I stared and touched them, feeling dazed. This was the outfit I wore as Mr. Fong. It had been a long time since I last wore it. The following night, a high-end French restaurant in the prime district of City B, brilliantly lit. Waiters hurried back and forth with trays. I wore a sharp, tailored suit, my black hair neatly combed back, an exquisite tie clip pinned to my crisp white collar, looking exceptionally handsome. Under the crystal chandeliers, as I played the violin, I looked strikingly elegant. Through the floor-to-ceiling glass, a black Bentley was parked outside. Bai Ningbing leaned against the car, holding a glass of red wine. It was the first time Bai Ningbing had seen me play. Her eyes held a hint of inexplicable scorn, and a possessiveness she didn't even realize she had. She didn't enter the restaurant. She just stood outside and waited. She saw women being captivated by me from time to time, some even handing me their business cards, but I declined them all with a faint smile. I simply kept playing my violin. Bai Ningbing was quite satisfied. She thought, as long as I went home with her, she could pretend my recent rebellion never happened. 10:30 p.m. The restaurant closed. I packed away my violin, and said goodbye to the manager. The manager was very pleased with me. He paid me promptly, saying he'd call me again for future gigs. I thanked him once more. I walked out of the restaurant. Seeing me emerge, Bai Ningbing turned slightly. Just as she was about to call me, someone beat her to it. Xiao Yuan. I looked toward the voice. A few steps away, Lu Ruyan had just parked her car, waving at me. "Let me give you a ride home. I think it is too late. It might not be appropriate." Just as I was about to refuse, Lu Ruyan took a food container from the passenger seat. "Handmade dumplings from my mom. Your favorite celery filling. She asked me to bring them to you." I felt a bit embarrassed. That auntie still remembers. Lu Ruyan gave a gentle smile. She softly opened the passenger door. "Get in. I'm heading that way anyway." I couldn't really refuse again. I got in the car, fastened my seatbelt. Then, "Thank you for the ride." Lu Ruyan held the steering wheel with both hands, glancing at me clutching the food container. Her gaze was warm. "Eat it if you're hungry. It's still hot." But I didn't want to seem too close. Besides, I was afraid of messing up her car. I shook my head. "I'll eat it when I get home." Lu Ruyan didn't push me. She gently pressed the accelerator. After a moment, she said cheerfully, "Eating slowly at home is nice too." The white BMW slowly drove away. From about 10 meters away, Bai Ningbing watched the car disappear. Her expression was dark and brooding. She grabbed her phone from the car, made a quick call. She received an answer quickly. Just as she suspected, the secret owner of that restaurant was Lu Ruyan. Perhaps I was too exhausted. I actually fell asleep in the car. The car stopped. I was still asleep. Lu Ruyan turned to look at me, looking at my handsome yet weary face, looking at my lean build hidden beneath the suit pants. She had never looked at a man so directly. In her eyes before, I was just a kid. But years had passed. I had grown into a mature man, and it was Bai Ningbing who had molded me into this. Lu Ruyan's feelings were complicated. She couldn't resist lightly touching my sharp yet haggard face. Her voice was slightly husky. "I was clearly the one who knew you first." I woke up. I opened my eyes, looked around. "We're here already?" I froze for a moment when I met Lu Ruyan's eyes. I instinctively tightened my grip on the bento box. "I am an adult. I'm not oblivious." A bank card with 2 million, specially delivered handmade dumplings, claiming it was all for old time's sake. It was a bit too forced. I paused to consider my words, then spoke softly. "Sister Ruyan, I can handle the family matters. Please don't trouble yourself anymore." Lu Ruyan gazed at me silently. We are both adults. How could she not understand the implication? I guessed what she was thinking, and I rejected it. She probably feared Bai Ningbing, afraid it would affect her. Lu Ruyan didn't press me. She lightly tapped the bento box in my hand, gave a faint smile. "You can come to me if you need anything." To say I wasn't moved at all, that would be a lie. Kindness in a time of crisis. Anyone would be grateful. But the adult world is full of too many complications. A moment later, I stood in the night breeze, watching the white BMW slowly drive away. Once the car was gone, I slowly walked toward the old apartment hallway. The hallway lights had been broken for days. There was no property management, so repairs were slow. It was pitch black everywhere. I was about to use my phone for light, when my body was suddenly embraced by 2 slender arms. After a few stumbles, I was pinned against the hallway wall by the woman. Through the window frame, a sliver of moonlight, I saw Bai Ningbing's indignant face, like she had just caught me cheating. Bai Ningbing stared at me. Her dark eyes were cold enough to freeze everything, hardness pressing against softness. The whole posture was almost too much to look at. Bai Ningbing's face pressed against the back of my ear, questioning if it was because of her that I wanted a divorce. I shook my head, just as I was about to speak. Suddenly, a thin, long moan. Bai Ningbing had been my wife for 3 years. She knew exactly how to make me aroused quickly, how to make me feel good. In the dark, dilapidated hallway, we had both received elite education since childhood. I was the quintessential gentleman of a noble family. Bai Ningbing was even more fastidious, almost to the point of a germaphobe. But right now, she didn't care about any of that. Bai Ningbing was bordering on madness. I was nearly breaking down. "No, Bai Ningbing, calm down." But she wouldn't listen. "Do you know who she is? Didn't you notice she looks a bit like me? Are you looking for a replacement?" She knew my body well, and her technique was top tier. A long time later, she leaned against my shoulder. Her delicate skin looked pale and precious against my black shirt. Her body was still trembling from the afterglow. I was certain Bai Ningbing had a grudge against Lu Ruyan. I was helpless. I could only carry her out of that decrepit hallway, and into the car parked in the alley. The black Bentley was completely out of place in the shabbiness. I turned on the air conditioning, pulled out some tissues and handed them to her. Ever since we started the divorce process, she hadn't found release for a long time. After tidying up her clothes, she finally calmed down. I pondered Bai Ningbing's thoughts. It wasn't actually hard to guess. It was simply that her husband, whom she hadn't divorced yet, was getting too close to another woman, and she felt uncomfortable. It had nothing to do with love. As for this absurd intimacy, I only felt embarrassed. I mocked her intentionally. Bai Ningbing, you're not jealous, are you? Bai Ningbing reached out and lightly touched my face. She sneered. You really love to flatter yourself. I'm just reminding you, you are still Mr. Fang. Don't associate with irrelevant women. My smile faded further. And you can? Bai Ningbing's gaze grew deep. Regarding the matter of Song Jinyan, she actually didn't care much. Most of the time, Secretary Wu handled it for her. Occasionally, when she went to H City on business, she would only drop by to check in. But she never explained this to me, because there was no need. The reason she lost control today, I suspect it was because of Lu Ruyan, not because she cared about me. Bai Ningbing shifted into a more comfortable position, but I wanted to leave. As I started to move, Bai Ningbing grabbed my hand. Bai Ningbing turned to look at me. Her gaze was one I knew all too well. This is how Bai Ningbing looks when she's doing business. Completely devoid of emotion. After a long silence, Bai Ningbing pulled a bank card from her wallet and handed it to me. It's a supplementary card, with a monthly limit of 2 million. If it's not enough, I'll have Secretary Wu increase it. I looked at that platinum card. I felt a stir in my heart. Really, this was the kindness I once longed for. After the Fang family collapsed, I desperately needed money. So, even if it meant being humble, I still accepted the 100,000 she gave me every month. But now, I know clearly what accepting this card would mean. It means I, Fang Yuan, have to go back to being Mr. Fang. It means I must, as before, serve her every need with meticulous care. And I'd have to mold myself into her ideal of beauty, satisfy all her preferences. I'd have to accompany her to various banquets. I only need to be obedient, no soul required, because that's exactly what Bai Ningbing is buying. I rejected her card. I gripped the car door, and spoke in a low voice. Bai Ningbing, your kindness has come too late. Even now, you still don't understand why we couldn't make it work. The interior of the car was dark. Bai Ningbing reached out and pressed a button. The interior light flickered on. It felt blinding. I instinctively closed my eyes. Bai Ningbing toyed with the bank card. Her voice was mocking. You mean feelings? Fang Yuan, do you think there's any room left for us to develop feelings? Don't forget how we got married in the first place. Her expression turned cold. So stop clinging to things that don't belong to you. I didn't want to explain anymore. I looked exhausted. Does that belong to Song Jinyan? Bai Ningbing, since you care about him so much, and ache for him, why didn't you marry him? Actually, a man's first time isn't that important. We did sleep together back then, but you weren't willing to marry me. I wouldn't have minded. And now, isn't divorce better? I'm tired. I whispered a few words. Let's set each other free. After saying that, I opened the door and got out. I left without looking back. Bai Ningbing didn't stop me. She sat in the car, expressionless. After a while, she lazily reached out to turn off the ceiling light. As she turned off the light, her gaze caught a messy pile of tissues. Bai Ningbing thought back to just now. She had actually noticed I was different. In the past, if she were intimate with me in a place like this, no matter how good it felt, I would have minded. But just now, I didn't seem to care at all. I left decisively. Bai Ningbing leaned back into the seat, and rubbed her brow. She was incredibly ambitious in her career, so her private life wasn't as exciting as other women's. She doesn't love me, but I'm handsome enough, and obedient enough. Bai Ningbing had no desire to waste time on other men. Now, a husband who refuses to come home is making her restless. The hallway was still dim, lingering with the ambiguous scent of an encounter. Enduring the humiliation, I picked up the dropped box of handmade dumplings, and my neglected violin. I dragged my exhausted body home. Just as I was about to open the door, a voice rang out, Fang Yuan. The hallway light suddenly flickered on. I saw a familiar face. Kuzhen. After a moment, I snapped back. How did you find this place? I went to the hospital. Aunt Sue gave me the address. Kuzhen said, tilting his chin. I came straight here after landing. Hurry up and get me something to eat. I've been hungry for nearly 12 hours. Airplane food is disgusting. I opened the door and let him in. As Kuzhen entered with his luggage, his brow immediately furrowed. He turned back and patted my shoulder. Xiao Yuan, you've been suffering. It's okay, Kujun, really, I've gotten used to living here. Kujun didn't say anything. He knew I was lying. How could I ever get used to a place like this? I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth. My old bathroom was bigger than this entire place. He paused for a long time, until he calmed down. Kujun pretended to be casual. I'll take a shower first. I'm staying here tonight. It's been a while since we've seen each other. We can have a proper chat. While Kujun was showering, I had already finished cooking. We both sat down to eat. To lighten the mood, Kujun leaned in close, and whispered, "While I was waiting for you just now, I heard some noise in your hallway." I looked up. Kujun's expression became more mysterious. He cleared his throat. "You know, that kind of thing." It was too dark to see clearly, but I bet I'm right. It suddenly hit me that it was Bai Ningbing and me in the hallway. I didn't expect Kujun to hear it. Of course, I didn't want to admit it. But Kujun has a nose like a bloodhound. Seeing my expression, and leaning in for a sniff, there was a faint scent of women's perfume on my neck. Kujun stared intently. "Was it you and Bai Ningbing?" I kept my head down, eating my noodles. I gave a brief nod. "She came by." Kujun shoveled his noodles, absolutely furious. "You two have fallen apart this much, and she still wants a married life, in bed? Besides, no matter what, you shouldn't be getting frisky in the hallway. She acts so cold and distant usually. Who knew she was so wild and private?" I was too ashamed to mention what Bai Ningbing did at home. Kujun felt indignant on my behalf. He let out a torrent of abuse toward Bai Ningbing and Song Jinyan. After venting his frustration, he placed his hand on my shoulder, and spoke seriously. "Aunt Su told me everything about your family, Xiao Yuan. Playing your violin in places like this isn't the answer. We have to maintain our image, right?" As Kujun spoke, he took out a cigarette, lit it, and took a slow drag. Kujun is a model. He's incredibly lean. When he smokes, he has this rebellious look on his face. It's very captivating. Bai Ningbing couldn't help but lean down and kiss me. Master bedroom. The crystal chandelier shines brilliantly. The floor is a complete mess. The servant prepared the hangover soup. It was meant to be brought in. Glancing through the crack in the door, she quickly retreated. Bai Ningbing was in a rush. Her clothes weren't even off yet. When she put the wedding ring back on my finger, my consciousness was blurred. I murmured softly, "Bai Ningbing, do you even know? Actually, I don't love you anymore. I don't love you. I've said it several times." Bai Ningbing's expression suddenly turned sour. She glared at me fiercely, staring at me for a long time. She softly spat out a few words. "You think I care?" She truly didn't need to care, because she didn't love me, because our marriage was a mistake from the start, because reason told Bai Ningbing that she didn't need to care about some childish love. She only needed a docile and obedient husband. Right now, she didn't want to admit she was flustered, and she certainly didn't want to admit that when I said I didn't love her. A surge of anger rose within her, and a feeling of discomfort, like something that belonged to her, had suddenly been snatched away. She was even more unwilling to wonder, since when I had stopped loving her. After a long while, she walked out of the bedroom, slowly walking downstairs. Her cold face was as expressionless as still water. The servant wasn't asleep yet, surprised by her expression. "Weren't the young mistress and master doing fine just now? Why does the mistress look so unhappy? Give me the hangover tea." Bai Ningbing's voice was flat. After the servant handed her the bowl, she quickly withdrew. Bai Ningbing carried the tea upstairs. Inside the master bedroom, a faint sweetness lingered in the air, like the sweet scent of lotus buds in June. The mess on the floor, Bai Ningbing ignored it. She sat on the edge of the bed. Her tone was harsh. "Get up. Drink this tea before you go back to sleep." I ignored her, my voice trembling. "Bai Ningbing, we shouldn't have done this." Bai Ningbing stared intently at me. For a long moment, she said coldly, "You still dare to speak? I really want to smother you to death. Then you wouldn't be able to say such unpleasant things." Bai Ningbing had always been proud. She rarely coaxed anyone. Besides, lately, she had been feeling genuinely frustrated. At that moment, she couldn't be bothered with me. She just lay on the bed, turned off the light, and went to sleep. But I was sleeping right beside her. How could she possibly sleep? Tossing and turning for a long time. Finally, Bai Ningbing reached out and pulled me, pressing herself against my chest, gritting her teeth against my ear. "You don't love me? Then don't even think about loving anyone else." I felt a bit cold. Now that I had a source of heat, I unconsciously held her tighter. Bai Ningbing woke up first. She was woken up by the heat, holding something scorching in her arms. Her bathrobe was completely soaked. Opening her eyes, she saw my abnormally flushed face. She reached out to touch it. My face was burning hot. Bai Ningbing immediately got up. hurrying downstairs to instruct the servant. Call Dr. Wang and tell him to come over. The servant hurriedly asked, is the mistress unwell? Bai Ningbing was walking back upstairs. She paused upon hearing this. Just say the master has a fever. Tell him to get here as soon as possible. Half an hour later, Dr. Wang arrived. In the bedroom, the servant had already tidied everything up. Not a single trace of intimacy remained. The doctor examined me thoroughly, saying the fever was quite severe. Let's give him a fever-reducing injection. Additionally, Mr. Fang's body is quite depleted. He needs to pay attention to his nutrition. The doctor only mentioned it briefly, but Bai Ningbing knew clearly that I was overworked, often neglecting my meals. I used to be so pampered. When had I ever suffered like this? The doctor gave me an injection. Before leaving, he instructed, it's best to stay in bed and rest for a day. Bai Ningbing nodded, and had the servant escort the doctor downstairs. The servant saw the doctor out. A moment later, footsteps echoed in the stairwell again. Bai Ningbing thought it was the servant returning, so she ordered, cook a bowl of plain white porridge. Let it cool down and bring it upstairs. But the person who entered was Secretary Wu. He was carrying several sets of women's business suits, which had been sent for cleaning for Bai Ningbing last week. He had specially brought them over early. When he saw me on the bed, he was very surprised. Why is he back? And it was obvious that Bai Ningbing had slept in the same bed as me last night. No matter how clean the bedroom had been tidied, but on the back of my neck, there was a faint love bite. Bai Ningbing saw it was him, then looked at the clothes in his hand, and frowned slightly. Put the things on the sofa. You may leave now. You don't need to handle these things in the future. Secretary Wu's gaze darkened, feeling the embarrassment of being exposed. He liked handling these private matters for Bai Ningbing, as if he were Bai Ningbing's husband. But this hidden desire, Bai Ningbing seemed to have seen through. As he left, his heart was filled with resentment. He wondered why she was so hostile toward him, yet so indifferent or even tolerant toward Song Jinyan. Perhaps deep down he knew, if Bai Ningbing were to love someone, she would only love me, because women always love the most exceptional, and Bai Ningbing was no exception. Secretary Wu left. Bai Ningbing looked at me on the bed. I was still fast asleep. Bai Ningbing stood by the bed, reaching out to gently pat my arm. I didn't react, so she applied a bit more force, until I uncomfortably rolled over and turned away. Only then did she feel a bit better. But soon, her eyes clouded with a deep intensity. Bai Ningbing walked into the living area, looking at those clothes, which were washed clean, but they still smelled of a solvent she disliked. Besides that, she hates it when outsiders touch her personal belongings. How could I be so reckless? I placed my hand against her chest to hold her back. Bai Ningbing, we can't do this anymore. But at this moment, how could Bai Ningbing resist? She spoke with total confidence. Why not, Mr. Fang? We are still legally married. For a long time, as we struggled with each other, a knock sounded at the door. Likely hearing the commotion inside, the maid sounded hesitant. Her voice was lowered. Miss, your grandmother-in-law called. She's asking if the master is here. How should I respond? In the bedroom, the noise stopped. I pushed Bai Ningbing away, and called out, tell her I'll be back soon. The maid acknowledged. A moment later, footsteps echoed outside, gradually fading away. I stood up and straightened my clothes. Then, feeling flustered and annoyed, I asked, where are the clothes I wore? Last night was so passionate. They got torn. Aren't there some in the wardrobe? What's wrong? Don't want to be Mr. Bai anymore. So you don't even want to wear the clothes? I didn't want to hear another word from her. I went to the dressing room and picked the simplest outfit to change into. I grabbed my phone and prepared to leave, but Bai Ningbing stood up to follow. I'll see you out. I didn't refuse. Let's just call it the last time. As for Bai Ningbing's actions last night, I'll act as if nothing happened. This will never happen again. In the courtyard, because Bai Ningbing was still upset, she slammed the car door loudly. In the past, I would have definitely cared, but now, I just leaned back in my seat, wondering if she was unsatisfied, or if she had been slighted by Song Jinyan. Thinking of that person, my heart felt heavy. Someone took my hand in theirs, and in my ear was Bai Ningbing's faint voice. What are you thinking of?